Use the system-generated forms. So my job has an element in which we have to fill out a form that gets sent to the customer. Being vague because it's a government job and the form is actually a legal document. But that's not super important to the story. Anyway, I have a template of the form saved that I use on a regular basis. I recently got assigned to a new supervisor who reviewed one of my cases and told me my forms are out of date and that I should use the form that our case management database generates. I told him that those forms often have incorrect information and come out formatted very inconsistently, and that I prefer to use a template. I asked if there was an updated template that I could use and he said, no, just use whatever the system generates because the system has to be correct. Please note that this man has not done an actual case of his own since we switched from paper files to digital. So I generated the form on the system and ended up with a PDF that included 3 copies of the form that had an address wrong, several dates wrong, lines through text where the text boxes didn't line up properly, an incorrect law cited, and several checkboxes checked that should not have been. I emailed it to him saying this was exactly what I got off the system. He didn't reply, but I checked the case database later and saw that he'd signed off on the case with my original template version. I used to work in a place that had several sites. The printers were networked. If I could find a printer on the worknet, I could print to it. Some senior managers like to pretend they didn't receive the email. Peter principle. So I'd print it to their printer and then email them. Please check your printer. Sometime you have to show non-tech people what the problems is before they believe you. My mind is made up, don't confuse me with the facts. And no one bothers to fix the system forms. They shouldn't have been needing to use a template, and they should have just put in tickets to their IT about it. Let work stack up when none of the forms it generates are usable. Otherwise you end up with this situation where they are probably spending tons of money for a system no one wants to use. And no one with the ability to fix knows it's broken. The computers are always right and always work correctly. I just had an idea. Why don't we fire the IT department? We don't need them because everything works. Amazing how often those that don't know attempt to supervise those who do know. Kudos to supervisor for revising his stance based on presented evidence. You do have a permanent record of your supervisor telling you to do this, such as a memo or an email, and not just a verbal agreement, correct? Because I can guarantee you that if you do not have written documentation that your supervisor instructed you to do this, your supervisor didn't tell you to do this. Lol, the bastard thought he could just slink by unnoticed. Sounds like your supervisor needs a promotion. GIGO, remember that from the Stone Age. Garbage in, garbage out. The forms are only as good as the human that puts them in. Edited for spelling. So where is the malicious compliance here? I suspect he was hoping you would offer to create the new template to his exacting, impossible to accomplish standards, and then be the one liable for errors. Ah, Luddites, what would we do without them? There was a time I would take the company's form, convert it to Word, fix the format, convert to PDF, then convert to fillable form. Now that I'm much closer to retirement, I don't do that.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.